Monday, June 30th, 2025, will be remembered as a day of devastation across several regions of the European Alps. Violent thunderstorms, combined with an ongoing heat wave and dry, unstable terrain, triggered a chain of natural disasters that severely impacted both France and Austria. The regions most affected included Savoie in France, especially the towns of Modane, Forno and Seavoi, as well as Schnitz in the Austrian province of Tyrol. These areas suffered from landslides, severe flooding, structural damage, and disruptions to transportation networks. The disaster was set into motion by a series of hot days, with temperatures rising above 30 degrees Celsius (86 degrees Fahrenheit) throughout much of the Alps. The heat wave dried out the soil, making it unable to absorb the torrential rains that followed. Within hours, a violent storm struck the high mountains, unleashing heavy rainfall that saturated the ground, overflowed rivers and streams, and caused massive landslides. On the French side, the storm hit the Maurienne Valley particularly hard. The towns of Forno, Modane, and Saint-Colomban-de-Villards bore the brunt of the impact. In Forno, the Charma stream overflowed with force, dragging tons of mud, debris, and sediment into the streets, homes, and businesses, flooding some areas with water up to 50 centimeters, nearly 20 inches, deep. The aftermath was felt quickly. More than 100 business owners in Forno and Modane were affected. School number 40 was forced to close due to partial flooding, and around 15 people had to be evacuated from community centers where they had sought shelter. Within hours, 300 homes were left without electricity. Road infrastructure also sustained significant damage. Route RD-215 was partially reopened for light vehicles, but RD-106 remained closed in Saint-Colomban-de-Villards, and RD-10006 was also shut down due to water buildup. Cross-border rail traffic between France and Italy came to a complete halt, affecting even the Paris-Rome line. Damage assessment was being carried out by the engineering company Siena Frazo. In Modane, muddy brown water rushed through the streets, overwhelming storm drains and flooding basements. A strong smell of fuel was reported in Forno, where authorities suspect that heating oil stored in low-lying areas may have been swept away by the floodwaters. Emergency response teams, including firefighters, technical staff, volunteers, police officers, and risk management units, worked tirelessly throughout the night and into the following Tuesday. About 24 firefighters were on site early, pumping out mud and cleaning debris with the help of volunteers and heavy machinery. In Schnitz, Tyrol, Austria, a similar scene unfolded. Landslides triggered by saturated soil swept across large areas behind the parish church of Maria Schnee, destroying the open-air Neuendorf Museum. Famous for its historic watermills, mountain lodges became isolated, and more than 100 people had to be evacuated by helicopter. The Tyrolean Crisis Management Center declared the situation critical and activated all emergency alerts. In both France and Austria, the quick work of rescue teams was vital in preventing fatalities. So far, no deaths have been reported, though dozens of people have been hospitalized with injuries. Meanwhile, a major landslide struck the Turin region in the Italian Alps. Like the others, it was triggered by intense rainfall and unstable soil. Rocks, trees, and earth slid rapidly down the slopes, impacting several villages and blocking roads. Italian authorities deployed firefighters, soldiers, and volunteers and declared a state of emergency in the area. The town of Savoie, near Forno, also experienced the disaster firsthand. On Monday, a wave of mud swept through the streets. Reports show that as much as 200 liters of rain per square meter fell, more than what typically falls in an entire month. Photos of the flooding revealed trapped vehicles and flooded basements. Structural damage was also extensive. In Modane and Forno, dozens of homes, schools, and shops were submerged. For homes in the Lacale area were directly affected by landslides and were evacuated as a precaution. Other households received warnings to evacuate if conditions worsened. Rail service between France and Italy was completely suspended. The Modane station was closed, and the tracks in St. Colomban were submerged. At the same time, National Highway 94 was blocked by river overflow, which destroyed 7 homes and impacted nearby campsites. As hours passed, local authorities activated emergency operations centers, including the COD at the Savoie prefecture. These centers coordinated evacuations, the movement of machinery, and damage assessments. Excavators worked to break through natural dams of debris and restore the Charma stream to its original course. France also experienced severe hailstorms in other regions, according to reports from Meteo France. These unusually strong storms for this time of year caused power outages, transportation cancellations, and significant damage to infrastructure and agricultural zones. The floods and destruction of June 30th, 2025, have been labeled the most severe in the Alpine region in the past 70 years, according to prefectural reports and news agencies like AFP. While there were no fatalities, the material losses are substantial, and recovery will likely take weeks or even months. The Italian government released emergency funds, and President Sergio Mattarella expressed solidarity with affected communities. In France, authorities mobilized humanitarian aid through organizations like the Red Cross and remained on high alert for potential future extreme events. Experts have warned that climate change, rising temperatures, heavy rainfall, and urban development in high-risk areas are causing such events to become more frequent. Geologists and climatologists from universities like the Sorbonne are calling for stronger preventive measures to address increasingly unstable weather conditions. What happened in Schnitz, Forno, Modane, and the surrounding regions is a stark reminder of the urgent need for action, not just to mitigate climate change, but also to strengthen early warning systems and emergency response plans.